Assalamu alaikum everyone. So Alhamdulillah, we have entered the month of Sha'ban, so we can change the dua recitation to Zuhr and Asr. Yes, Rajab finished so quickly. We're in the month of Sha'ban and we have a lot of events happening this week. We have different milads happening and we also have 15 Sha'ban in this month as well. Basically, we're very, very close to the month of Ramadan. So less than 30 days, less than 28 days, and we will be in the month of Ramadan, inshallah. So we have to get ready for it. We have to not just, mentally prepare for it, but also we have to spiritually, bro. Physically as well. Yeah, we should start eating so much now so that we don't have to worry about in Ramadan. So we were doing the book Mafatih al-Hayat, and we were almost done this third section, which was about thinking about the consequences of your actions, right? And we read one narration last session from Imam Ali alayhi salam, who said that anytime you want to do something, make sure you do it muhkam, make sure that the foundations of that action are solid. Don't do half-baked things. So let's continue on from this narration. So another narration is from Imam Ali alayhi salam, who said that a good and a solid life is built on planning and scheduling and time management. So we mentioned this narration as well last time. So this is the new narration for today. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said that there are three things that if a person does these three things, they can reach very, very high stations. Okay, whether in this world or in the hereafter. What are these three things? Number one is basically qasrul himma, meaning that if they're able to have a lot of enthusiasm, basically. Okay, if they're able to have a lot of motivation, if they have a lot of motivation, they can basically reach very high status. And if they have less of that, they will obviously not get a very high status. Another thing that can prevent someone from reaching a very high status is lack of planning. So if you do not plan your life, if you do not plan your day, it will prevent you from reaching a high status in this world. And the third thing is the lack of capacity to think. So remember, all of us can actually develop our capacities to think better, right? To make better decisions. People who don't have enthusiasm, people who do not have good time management and discipline in their lives. And third, people who do not have the ability to think properly. Imam Ali alayhi salam is saying that these people will not reach very high status in this world. Okay, because they lack these three qualities, right? Another thing he says is about Salman Farsi. He says about Salman Farsi, who was a companion of the Holy Prophet and also Imam Ali alayhi salam. He said that he was very smart, he was very intelligent. Every year, whenever he would get a salary, he would take a certain portion and he would put it to the side in his savings so that he would have enough money for the following year. So basically, this narration is about what? About saving money. Saving money has to do with what? Planning, correct? Planning and discipline. So just one narration about that. And the last one, this is also very important. Imam Javadi alayhi salam says, if you start announcing and publicly telling things to people before they are solidified, before things have actually happened, then that can result in corruption. That can result in fasad. Basically, in our language, we can kind of call it like you can jinx it. Okay, that's not what the Imam is saying, but that's how I'm saying it. Basically, if something hasn't happened yet, don't tell the people that it has happened, because you can kind of jinx it, right? Jinx is almost like not the right term for it, because that's kind of assumes there's a luck to it. But no, Imam Jawad is saying that don't do it because it can basically be a reason for that thing not happening. Okay, why? Because sometimes if something special is happening and you announce it and it hasn't really fully happened yet, people can get jealous, people can try to spoil your plan, people can try to do many things. So it's better to keep things to yourself until things are fully finalized and confirmed. The next section is a very interesting section. And this is actually might be something new for all of you, maybe something new. And that is So we talked about planning and thinking and contemplating, but these narrations tell you to have a balance in even doing that. Okay, what do we mean by balance? Basically, people who overanalyze things and overthink stuff, can they get stuff done? No. Because what did I tell grade 6 and 7? That analysis leads to paralysis. Yeah, analysis leads to paralysis. So if you do too much analysis and you overthink too much, you can sometimes become waswasi, you can start doing waswas, or you can never basically do anything. So look at this very nice hadith from the Holy Prophet. He says, I do not like people who are mutakallifin, those who just overburden themselves. They overdo it. And then at the end, they don't have any energy to do anything else productive. When they overburden themselves too much. The Prophet says, I don't like that. I don't like that. Okay? Sometimes we put other people into an extra burden. So look at these narrations. He says that when a person comes to your house, when a guest comes to your house, sometimes people put them in a very tough situation, right? Let's say somebody comes to your house and I don't know, they don't like certain type of food. But now you have made all these types of food and you pressure your guest. No, you must eat this, you must eat this, you must eat this. Okay, sometimes when we are traveling, especially the Molanas, they get a lot of food, right? And then there's a limit to the food. That's why I can never do a diet. Because every time I try, either Ramadan is coming or Muharram is coming, and then people put 20 different types of foods. And even if you say no, the person gets offended, right? But Prophet is saying, look, don't get offended. Don't put your guest into pressure. You're going to make them feel bad and they're going to eat. And then, it's not going to be a good relationship between you guys. So look at this, it's actually talking about this. Basically, it's also saying that you should think about the other person and their situation. That's what it's really trying to tell you about. Thinking about the other person, right? And then there's a couple of narrations about this. About making sure you have empathy and you take other people into consideration. Okay, make sure you know their situation. Okay? Another narration from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam that a mu'min, a believer, never puts other people into very difficult situations. Tight situations where, peer pressure basically. Okay, don't put them into other situations. How are you going to do that? You're going to do that if you actually are able to think about their circumstances. I must know your circumstances so that I don't put you into a lot of trouble. Correct? So that's what he's talking about over here. Another narration over here is that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says that sometimes a mu'min humiliates him or herself. So somebody asked Imam Sadiq, how can someone humiliate themselves? Imam Sadiq says because they get involved in things that they do not have the capacity to do. They get involved in projects, in assignments, in tasks. They take up all these projects that they don't even have the capacity to do. And then when they're unable to do it, there's a type of embarrassment and humiliation for them in society and in the community, and people make fun of them. Oh, you were not able to do this. So Imam Sadiq says, don't go into things that you won't be able to do. Okay, so think about it before you get involved in something. Think about what you're getting yourself involved in, right? So that's another narration. And the last narration of this chapter is from Imam Ali alayhi salam. He said that you can check the intelligence of a person in 6 places. 6 situations, 6 circumstances, you can see if the person is intelligent or are they not intelligent. What are the 6 places? Number 1, how they deal and live with people. Okay, how do you interact with your classmates? How do you interact with your teachers? How do you interact with your parents? How do you interact with your friends? If I can observe how you interact with each other, I can actually tell a lot about your intelligence, right? If you are misbehaving with your own classmates, then that tells me a lot about you. But if you are behaving very nicely with them and you are going out of your way to help them, that tells me a lot about your intelligence. So that's one place. Second place is during business transactions. Okay? Are you trustworthy in your business transactions or are you not trustworthy? Do you know about the product that you are selling? Do you know about what you are buying? Are you investigating what you are buying, or are you just looking at the nice flashy colors of those shoes and you just want to buy them without any research? Maybe those shoes are not very comfortable for you. So during transactions, during buying and selling, you can check if the person is intelligent. Number 3 is very interesting. When a person gets in a position, okay, when a person becomes a school principal, or when a person becomes a prime minister or a king or a student council leader, you can actually check their intelligence. Okay, do they get very arrogant when they come in these positions? Or are they still humble and can they do the work? That's what's important. So you can check people's intelligence over there. And another thing is also, Imam Ali says the opposite as well. So you check their intelligence when they have a position, and you check their intelligence when they don't have a position. So when they remove themselves from a position. So when they are not in a position, how do they behave in front of people that have the position? Are they able to listen to the people who have the rightful position? If you have a scholar who is leading something, for example, are you as a person who listens to them, are you listening and obeying what they are saying? Or are you just going to fool around? So you can check the intelligence of the people then as well. And the second last is check their intelligence with their money. If somebody is very, very rich, you can see how they spend the money. And also you can check their intelligence when they are poor. How do they behave and how do they manage themselves when they are poor? So in all of these 6 situations, you can actually check and evaluate and assess different people's intelligences. Okay, how intelligent are they? How much self-awareness they have? How do they behave with people around them? So that's a very interesting narration. And we will wrap this this chapter 1 up with this. Chapter 2 is about learning and education. So inshallah, that will be from tomorrow we will start it. And it's a pretty long chapter. Okay, it's a very long chapter because it's all about what? Learning. So we set the base, we set the foundations with thinking. Thinking is important. Now that you know thinking is important, so we're going to go now to learning as well, inshallah. So can we have a salawat, please?